Hi guys, I'm Tony here from TDI Media. Just wanted to come on and give you a little bit of an update on what's happening at the moment, in particular with relation to the Send It Karting News magazine that we're now producing. Now there are links below to the first 3 issues of the magazine. They were all free. The 4th issue is on screen there. That's the latest issue, which was out yesterday, and it's a subscription basically that we're charging £30 for the first 10 issues for. You can buy a copy I've got here, give you an example. This was the first issue, which is a sort of, almost like a paperback book, full colour pages inside, very thick cover. It's not a traditional sort of magazine. We're only producing around 15 or 20 of these, and when they're sold, they're sold. So it's intended really as a keepsake. We're having to charge £20 for each one, £30 for the first one it cost, but we're now going to charge £20 for the copies that we have, about half a dozen copies left that we're going to sell for £20. The issues 2 and 3 are both available at £20 each. It's expensive, you would think, for a magazine, but it's because we only print very few of them, and they're intended really for people that are in the magazine that want something as a bit of a keepsake that you can look back on in years to come. It's real high quality, all of them. The same is the case with issue 4 here. Now issue 4, the first 3 issues were 100 pages, 88 pages and 96 pages, I think, respectively. This latest issue is 172 pages, not least because we've got a multitude of driver profiles in there. If you have a look on our Facebook page, if you search at Send It Magazine on Facebook and like the page, and then you'll get updates on anything we do in the magazine. You can like the TDI Media page as well on Facebook, and we put updates on there as well. But 172 pages in issue 4. Much of it, about 45 drivers are featured in there with single and double page spreads about them and a little bit of information on them, so driver profiles basically. Now in issue 4 we've got the top 6 TDI Media filmed races of all time. My top 6. I go through each one, give a little bit of a review on each race. They were fantastic. Some of them have had over 1 million views. I won't tell you what my number 1 race of all time is, you'd have to read the magazine for that. In my view, the top 6 races that we filmed of all time, and there's some crackers in there. This month's Tech Tips by Gary Chapman, really useful on caster and camber, setting caster and camber on the kart, how to do it and what it does. If you're new to the sport and just trying to get to grips with, you know, your dad and lad, you can't afford to be in a team and have a mechanic come and show you exactly how to do it. These Tech Tips articles every month by Gary Chapman, they're worth the price of admission alone. The price of the subscription, by the way, is £30 for 10 issues. If you want the physical copy of the magazine, you can buy that via the Flipsnack link that's below. It's £20 basically, which allows you to look at that individual copy online, and we'll also then get your address and we'll send you the physical copy, providing you're in the UK. It might cost a little bit more if you're abroad in America, Australia, something like that. We've got to send it internationally, but we'll let you know that by email. Now, alongside the Tech Tips, we've also got Terence Dove's article this month, where Terence, who's the author of one of the best-selling books on karting and kart driving, he talks about the 10 common mistakes that new drivers make. So if you're a rookie, you've not been in karting that long, 10 mistakes you could be making that can cost you seconds a lap when you first start karting. Obviously, if you've been doing it for a while, you should know all these things. But really useful article if you're new to the sport. Jake Sanson covers the 12 drivers he thinks could challenge for a world title in the next year or 2. He covers 6 girls and 6 of the guys that he thinks could make it all the way to that top step of the podium. Put my teeth in. Top step of the podium at the World Championships. So that's Jake's article. I've got a 14-page race report from the Hooton Park club meeting that happened last weekend. It was a great comeback for the sport in the UK. 102 drivers, which for an independent kart race meeting and the IndyCar meeting, as they call it there at Hooton Park, is a great response, really. That's a sort of, not the absolute top end of what they would expect if they had a really busy meeting, probably 120 maybe independently, but to come back with 102, when I was talking to the circuit owner the day before, we were thinking 60, 80 would be absolutely amazing, we said. But actually 102 turned up. So there's a 14-page report. I won't be writing reports for every single meeting. A lot of the race reports tend to be 2 or 3 pages, 4 pages maybe with photos, but this one's a real detailed report. So if you were racing last weekend, certainly, if you were featured in any of the sort of battles in any of the races, I'll give you my race report there. This weekend, of course, it's the return of Super 1. We're not filming Super 1 this year, but we will be doing a race report, be following it. Alpha Live are doing a live stream, so there'll be a race report, and that will be in issue 5. Now, issue 5, what we're going to do from issue 5 onwards is to release regular updates of the magazine as it's being edited. So once we've got 20, 30 pages, we're expecting by around about the middle of the month, probably the 13th. So Super 1 this weekend, we're expecting by the end of next week to have the race report on from the Super 1 meeting. It will just be the edit so far of issue 5, and then as we add more pages, more content, driver profiles and race reports and so on and so forth, as they start coming in as we get back to racing around the UK and internationally as well, of course, we will release perhaps bi-weekly updates to the magazine. So once you've subscribed, if you subscribe to issue 4, then you'll be able to subscribe to the next 10 issues, go online and read it for your subscription, and then as we release information, news and so on, reports, they'll go in and they'll be updated. Sometimes they might be updated 2-3 times a week, just depends how much information we're adding, how much content we're adding at any given time. I should also say that there's another 2 articles worth reading in the magazine. My view on sports psychology and its place in karting, and also driving in the wet, and why it's not just about who's got the dodgy tyres on in the wet. I was told by Gary Chapman, I mentioned this in the magazine, that a kart has got more setup changes potentially on it than a Formula 1 car. He was told that by a Formula 1 engineer. So we cover a little bit of that as well. Now, what I will say as well, I was just talking about club meetings before, and we've just done the race report at Hooton Park. Now, that's a really detailed report, 4,600 words, but we're not expecting that if you're sending your own report from your club meeting, wherever that is in the world. Anything that we can run over 2 or 3 or 4 pages, something like that. Anywhere you are in the world, by the way. So we're not just talking about doing club meetings in the UK. If you've got a club in Australia, Malaysia, Japan, USA, and you want to send us regular race reports from your meetings wherever it is in the world, we will include them for you. Just send them to me at my email address on screen here, alan@tdi-media.com. Send us your race report. Just type it out in Word. Just send me a Word document, anything like that. 4 pictures, 6 pictures, whatever you can get from the professional photographer. Make sure he's happy for us to include the photos in the magazine. Send us your race reports in. So wherever your club is, whether it's in the UK or internationally, send us your race reports in and we'll feature them in the magazine for you. Just time to talk a little bit about what we are filming, or supposed to be filming this year, Little Green Man. I'm still waiting to hear about the plans for Little Green Man to finish up the season. The next round due was on the 12th of July. That's now obviously not going to happen. That's Lark Hall. They would have announced it already if it was. So they've got 3 rounds after that left, 1 in August, 2 in September. I'm assuming they're going to go ahead. A few people were asking me at the weekend if it's going ahead now, because they've not heard anything. So I'm still trying to get the information from Little Green Man themselves. They're making a decision on the remaining rounds and what they're going to do. Are they going to add any extra rounds in? It seems to be a little bit split. Some of you seem to want to go an extra round or 2 rather than the 3 that are left. I know with Super 1 they're just doing the last 3 rounds starting this weekend, but there's a few people mentioned that they'd rather have an extra round or two added on, maybe going into October, November. So we're waiting to see what Little Green Man are going to do. We are supposed to be filming that, so once we know, we'll let you know. I think that's it, guys, for now. Please subscribe to the magazine, give us your support. £30 for 10 issues, that's all it is, £3 an issue basically. This month it's a bumper issue, 172 pages. I'm not expecting every one to be that many, but again, send in your club reports. Have a look at the driver profiles as well and how we've done it. We usually get one in a race suit, which you can take with your phone against a plain white wall, something like that, or plain brick wall, anything like that. One in your race suit, a nice picture from a photographer that is going to allow us to use in the magazine, and then a little bit of information about yourself. If you read issue 4, you'll see a multitude of driver profiles in there, single pages, double page spreads, and if you send us information in about your driver, I'll be happy to put it in there for you. Give yourself a little bit of PR, give you sponsors something. If you've got a race suit that's got your sponsors clearly shown, then obviously they'll, always nice for them to see it in a magazine. So send us those in. I think that's it for now, guys. That's Alan Tuddie signing off. I'll see you again soon.